Hello and welcome to Bruce Springsteen Guitar Lessons. This channel is dedicated to helping you learn your favourite Bruce tracks on guitar. If you're new here, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon for notifications. Okay, so today's request is Bruce's Tougher Than the Rest. It's an acoustic version. I've based this on his Help for Heroes show that he did in 2012, I think it is. Thanks very much to Padraig Murphy for the request. Apologies for the pronunciation. Be sure to follow through to the end of the video just in case I go through any parts that aren't in the walkthrough or explanations on why I play certain things certain ways. Cool, so I'm going to play the song now and then come back and go through all the different parts. See you in a bit. Hello and welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that walkthrough. So now what I'm going to do is go through all the individual parts. Okay, so I've based this version on his live acoustic version. Okay, the version I've picked is the Help for Heroes, just because there was a nice YouTube video on it. Help for Heroes, I think 2012, and he uses this awesome open tuning, and it's quite easy to see what he's playing, so it was easier for me to work it out. Now, with Bruce, especially when he's playing acoustic, he's often mixing his strumming and his timing up. So what I've done is I've suggested a few strumming patterns. You're more than welcome to play around with it. You know, Bruce is going to change this stuff up and, you know, improvise and mix it up every time. He's not going to use the same strumming pattern. So use this as a kind of foundation and feel free to play around with it. So tuning wise, this is really awesome tuning. I've never actually play with it before, and I noticed I think Bruce does it for a few other songs as well. Incident on 57th Street, I think, acoustic, he does this tuning. So the E is tuned tuned to a C. The A is tuned to a G. That's a D, that's a G, that's the B as normal, and then the E is tuned to a D. So you can think of it as an open G tuning, which the Rolling Stones use a lot. Awesome tuning. So it basically means, like when you're playing the G chord, for example, you're just blocking the E string off and you just strum away, and that's your G chord because it's only 3 notes. You can think of it as an open G tuning with a C in the bass, or you can think of it as a C add 9, which contains the notes C, G, and D. So it's a really awesome tuning. Okay, so basically, chord-wise, what we're going to use is G, which is basically kind of rest. You don't want this C note ringing for the G. Now and then there's a D5 chord. Okay, now he plays it like this: 2nd fret, low E string, 2nd fret G, and then 3rd fret B. You should probably play it like this, but I'm just going to stick to what Bruce is doing. So for this one, you kind of want to block out the A string as well, which is why I think he uses his thumb. You can do it like that as well. Okay, so that's the D5, then C add 9, which is an awesome chord in here. Fret wise, that's 2nd fret D, 3rd fret B, and there's not really much else. Oh yeah, in the middle 8, you've got an E minor 7, but he's kind of playing 4th fret low E string, and then the open D, the open G, and the open B. So we've got some really awesome open voicings here. Cool, so the intro is kind of playing around with it. Again, this is just purely based on the Help for Heroes 2012 show, so you might do lots of other things. I just thought this one sounded awesome. I may well come back and do the album version as well at some point as well. Cool, so strumming wise, again, if you check the walkthrough, don't forget you can slow it down using the cog icon. Just, you know, the tab is popping it in and out, so feel free to play around with that. Strumming wise, a lot of this is 16th notes, so semi-quavers. So that's 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Okay, if you're stuck on semi-quavers, etc., and just general strumming, head over to jsmusicschool.co.uk, go on blog and then go on strumming. There's a few blogs and videos that will help you out there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my own take on this intro, and he's kind of messing around with a few things. So the first beat, you've got a dotted quaver, which is 3/4 of a beat. So that's 1 E and then So that's with the open G chord, so 1 E and And then he's going to got the second beat, quavers, 2 E and So 2 E and, 2 E and So down, up, down, then hammer on, first finger, 1st fret, B string. He's doing something like this. So you've got this, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3, and then you've got a semi-quaver tie, then you're coming in on the E of 3 with an upstroke, still with that first finger pressed down on the 1st fret, and then the of 3. So you've got this, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a. And then I've suggested beat 4, another hammer on, 1 E and a. Sorry, 4 E and a, 4 E and a. So you've got this, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, so it's something like that. Again, it might not be exact. You can use this as foundation, do your own thing as well. The main thing really when it comes to semi-quaver strumming is making sure you're going 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, and it's good to build up a repertoire of different patterns. For example, that beat 1 E and a, so when you see it in some sheet music, you can play it straight away. So that first bar again, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Then the second bar, I've suggested doing this, 1 E and a, with your third finger or little finger on the 3rd fret B. So 1 E and a, 1 E and a 2 E and a, then pull off to the 1st fret B string. So you got this, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. So I've got that wrong, wait a minute. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and. So again, it's quite fully working this out, but it's doing something like this. So second bar again, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and. So those 2 bars together, this is just the intro. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and. Quite a mouthful counting that and playing at the same time. Cool, and that's just, it just sounds quite cool. Sounds really awesome. Again, you could do something simpler than that if you wanted to. And then the D5. Now this is the strumming pattern that I'm going to use throughout, okay? This is just my suggested strumming pattern. Again, when you're going to, if you play this live or something like that on an open mic night, you're not going to want to do the same strumming pattern all the time. So you want to use this as a foundation and then do something else. So the pattern I'm going to use, and I've done that for a lot of the video, is doing this: 1 E and okay, and then so that's dotted quaver, 3/4 of a beat, followed by a semi-quaver. So that's 1 E and so that's the first beat, and then beat 2 to 2 quavers downstrokes. Again, aim to block out that A string, which I didn't do there. So that's 1 E and a 2 and then that beat 3 pattern, which is a tie on the start of the beat for semi-quaver. So that's 3 that you're not going to play on, and then the E upstroke, which is a quaver, and then the upstroke. So that 3 E and it's really cool. All this stuff, you know, Wonderwall, loads of kind of patterns use these kind of rhythms. Loads of songs use these kind of rhythms. It's worth learning these just generally in your guitar playing. So 1 E and a 2 and 3 E and a 4 E and so for this one, when you're hammering on, you're obviously going to do one less strum, if that makes sense. So beat 4, this is for bar 3. I'm going to do 4 E and so for strumming wise, you're going down, down, up for that one, because I'm taking my middle finger off and then I'm hammering it on the E of 4. So this strumming pattern with these 4 rhythms, so that is 1 E and 2 and 3 E and then 4 E and or 4 E and I'm going to use pretty much throughout the whole of the song. Cool. So that's this bar 3. Then bar 4, he does something slightly different in the video. Again, you don't have to use this. So here we've got 1 E and a 2 and 3 and 1 E and a 2 and 3 and I think he moves his finger to the. Again, he's improvising a little bit here, but it works quite nicely. So to show you that again, this is bar 4 of the intro. 1 E and a 2 and 3 and 4 and we kind of aim to hit the D, the G, the B for the last 2 strums. So 2 0 3 0 0 3. Doesn't have to be perfect, but so that bar 4 again. 1 E and a 2, 3 and 4 and cool. And then the whole bar of the C add 9, which is an awesome chord. 1 E and a 2 and 3 E and a 4 E and a. Okay, and then we've got G for half a bar, again just open, So it's 1 E and a 2 and. So that's the pattern I'm going to be using for half a bar. 1 E and a 2 and it's just nice and simple. Again, you might want to do something else, that's fine. And then 3 E and a 4 and on the D5. Okay, so that's the first 6 bars. So I'm going to play those first 6 bars a little bit slower. So 1 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 and 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and 2 and 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 and 3 E and a 4 and bar 7 and 8 of the intro is just 1 E and a 2 and 3 E and a 4 E. Cool, so what I'm also going to do is put the song structure up on the screen now. So like I've said in a lot of other videos, I like to simplify the song structure as much as possible. So even though I might be doing, the first fret there or the third fret there, I might not necessarily put that in the song structure. This is to get used to how many bars you're doing of each kind of chord. So you can see a lot of similarities here. Even though I'm doing extra little fiddly bits in the intro, the structure is basically the same. So it's basically 8 bars times 2, even though we're doing slightly different things sometimes. So the chords in brackets, it means there's up to 2 chords in 1 bar. If you look at the verses and the middle 8 and the outro, 1 bar put it as a 2/4. It basically means there are 2 beats in that bar. Okay, that's just what I've picked up from the video. Again, this is the Help for Heroes video 2012. It's just a really cool performance. Cool. So that's the first 8 bars of the intro. And then we're going to do the second line, and all I'm going to do here for the G is just add this hammer on towards the end of the bar. So 1 E and a 2 and 3 E and a 4 E and a. And these are kind of cool techniques you can use in other songs as well. So I'm going to do that bar again. And a 2 and 3 E and a 4 E and a. So you're hammering on the E, 4 E and a. Cool, and then you're going to do that for 2 bars, that pattern, okay? So that's the intro. Okay, now it's the first verse, the second verse, the third verse, and the outro, apart from some extra lines, are pretty much the same sort of 16 bars, okay? Which is really cool. So it's all about getting used to the structure as well, which is helpful. Again, the song structure will be in the description as well. Okay. So first verse, you're just going to do this, 2 bars of G. Again, feel free to mix it up. You might want to do something like this. 1 E and a 2 and 3 E and a 4 and. Bruce might even be doing in the actual song. So you can just do 2 quavers at the end instead of 4 semi-quavers, again, or mix the 2 up. So 2 bars of G, and then D5 for 2 bars. C at 9 for 1 bar, and I've suggested G for 2 beats, so 1 E and a 2 and, so that's the bar of 2/4, and D5 for 2 bars. And then 2 bars of G, 2 bars of D5, 1 bar of C at 9, then half a bar of G, half a bar of D5, 2 bars of G. Okay, so this verse structure is going to happen on the first verse, the second verse, the third verse, but in the third verse you're going to do an extra line, so I'll get to that in a minute, and the outro, which is going to be an extra bit added on in the end as well. So it's really good to get used to this structure if you want to play this version with the open tuning, which I think sounds really nice. Cool, so after so I'll do that first verse again, and you're going to use that throughout a lot of the parts of the song as well. So G, 2 bars, D5, 2 bars, C at 9 for 1 bar, G for 2 beats, D5 for 2 bars, G major for 2 bars, D5 for 2 bars, C add 9 for 1 bar, then half a bar of G, D5, G, 2 bars. And then you got a break for 2 bars. Again, it's not always exactly 4 beats or 2 beats because he sometimes slows down, you know, when he's singing with Patty or whatever. So, you know, do your own thing as well. Then you got a break for 2 bars, 2 bars of G. Then the second verse, which is the same as the first verse. Then the middle 8 section. So this is when the road is dark line. And I think he's going to do something like this, where he's putting his fourth fret at low E string with the 3rd finger, kind of creates an E minor 7 sound. E minor 7, C add 9, 2 bars of G, 1 bar of C add 9, 2 beats of D5 this time, 2 bars of G. Okay, then back to that E minor 7 chord. C add 9, G, 2 bars, C add 9, half a bar G, D5 half a bar, and 2 bars of G. Cool, so I'll do that middle 8 section again, which I think is what he's roughly doing. Again, I'm simplifying it. E minor 7, C add 9, 2 bars of G, C add 9, D5 2 beats, 2 bars of G, E minor 7 for 2 bars, C add 9 for 1 bar, G, C add 9, G, half a bar, D5 for half a bar, 2 bars of G. Cool, the 3rd verse is exactly the same. All you're going to do, sorry, the 3rd verse is exactly the same as the 1st and the 2nd verse. All you're going to do is once you've done those first 16 bars, you're going to repeat the last 4 bars. So that's the C add 9. This one. So he basically just does that bit twice. Cool, and then the outro when he's kind of humming and stuff like that, again, he might play it differently in other versions. He's basically doing the same structure as the verse, so the first 16 bars, and then he's going to do C add 9, and G, D5, slowing down. He's doing a lot of humming and things like that in the outro. Cool, hope that helps. Again, this is my own take on the song. It's really good for practicing your semi-quaver 16th note strumming if you're not too comfortable with that. Or again, you can kind of simplify it as well. Again, this is my own take on the song. Yeah, hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks very much for the request, Podrick, or however you pronounce your name. And I'll see you next week. Cheers, bye.